Hello everyone, this is Father John from St Ignatius Parish, St Heliers. Greetings to you and to anyone else who is watching or maybe watching. Today is the 5th Sunday of Lent, and I would like to speak in two parts because the readings are so rich. The first part is this, which will reflect mainly on the first reading, which is a reading from the prophet Ezekiel. And the second part, which will be a separate video, will be on the Gospel of St. John. The overall theme of both is love and resurrection. But first of all, after this third full day of lockdown, how are you doing? New challenges, I'm sure. Some of them that I can think of is husband and wife struggling with one working at home and the other at work, children as well, you young people at school, homework, and now meeting a new challenge, school holidays without the usual nice things, but rather the challenge and promise of living together. I send you lots of love, and I also send you lots of encouragement to be creative. One of the things that we always need to do, and which we can do at this time, is deepen our relationship, and one of them is the family memory for our children. So have a talk about grandparents and great-grandparents and what they had to deal with in their day and what the great-grandparents had to deal with in their day. And this is why we are who we are. So let's turn to the first reading. The prophet Ezekiel lived about 620 BC, and he was with his people exiled in Babylon, modern Iraq, thousands of kilometers north of Jerusalem. The people were devastated. They were slaved. They'd lost their identity. So Ezekiel writes to them in the name of God, and he says, "The Lord says, I mean to open your graves, my people, and raise you up and restore you to your own land." And thereby he promises, with the metaphor of a resurrection, that the regathering of the people would be like an earthly resurrection, and they would be restored to themselves, to their land, and become once again a people. So we have in the background a social love of God for his people, seeing that they should rise out of their present circumstances into becoming a new people. I cannot think of a more appropriate parallel for us as we enter into this coronavirus period. We already have a good track record. The people of New Zealand responded magnificently to the tragedy of the earthquake or the earthquakes in Christchurch, and then again exactly 1 year ago to the mass murders, likewise of the Muslim brothers and sisters in Christchurch. Likewise, suddenly there came out of a New Zealand a love which was always there, I believe, but which came to expression in those times of disaster. Similarly, I think at this time, where we are all this time, rather than just some, we are all made party to what might be termed, hopefully, as a resurrection of a people to a new stage in its development. The picture of love, therefore, here and resurrection takes 2 points. One is that we are called to a social love of our people. What is happening, I think, is that everyone is beginning to care for one another. Our government is ensuring, hopefully, that nearly all people keep their jobs, that rents stay the same, that there is subsidy enough for people to continue to live as they are, even as they are shut in. The social care is also expressed, and again in our parish, by the community reaching out across the by ringing and making sure people are okay. People also becoming the shopping person. All of these things make us think, what can we do to keep our society at this level of love and care for all people? Pope Francis talks about making an economy based on the common good of all peoples. And I think you'll hear a little echo of this in our situation today. So the challenge is to reflect on our society and see what we can keep and maintain for the future. The other thing is the love of God, which extends to all people and to our society, is the same love which hopefully reigns in our home. The challenges of living together in love are not easy, and every love has a price, and we're all called to enter into that self-giving which is love, to make our home in this period as creative and loving as we can. So happy resurrection in that sense, both in your family and in our society. Next Sunday we begin Holy Week, Palm Sunday, and then on to the celebration of Christ's death and resurrection. Be somewhat different this week, but the reality remains the same. The second video that I will present in a moment for your reflection and prayer is that of the Gospel.